unfortunately, we have another death this week.
This one, yeah, this one hurt because it's life imitating art. This kind of bothered me a bit.
Yeah. Gena, the actress, was known for collaborations with her late husband, actor-director John Cassavetes, and for her son Nick Cassavetes' film The Notebook. Gena Rowlands, screen icon best known for A Woman Under the Influence and The Notebook, has died. She was 94. Rowlands died surrounded by her family, including her husband Robert and daughter Alexandra, at her Indian Wells, California home on Wednesday, August 14th, reports TMZ, adding that no cause of death was immediately available. Her son, Nick Cassavetes' agent's office also confirmed the news to People. In June 2024, Nick told Entertainment Weekly that his mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease 5 years ago. Rowlands was born in June 1930 in Cambria, Wisconsin. She began acting in the 1950s and made her Broadway debut in The 7-Year Itch. That was later made into a famous Marilyn Monroe picture. 1955, Rowlands began to guest star in TV shows such as Studio One, Laramie, Johnny Staccato, opposite her husband John Cassavetes, Riverboat, The Lloyd Bridges Show, Bonanza, The Virginian, and Breaking Point. In 1958, she made her film debut in The High Cost of Loving. It was her marriage to Cassavetes which led to some of her best well-known roles. The two collaborated together on 10 films, such as A Child is Waiting, Faces, Machine Gun McCain, Minnie and Moskowitz, and Tempest. The two made for an unusual Hollywood couple in that they financed many of their own films off with money they earned by acting in more commercial projects. Two of their films, 1974's A Woman Under the Influence and 1980's Gloria, resulted in Rowlands' Oscar nominations for Best Actress. Did you see Gloria?
I don't think so. No.
I've heard good things. You might find it interesting. It's almost like a vigilante woman type thing, I think. In 1984, Rowlands told People, "John and I probably disagree on just about everything in the world." Describing their marriage as volatile, the actress added, "But that's what marriage is all about. If you think marriage isn't going to be like that, you've got trouble." Rowlands went on to star in Woody Allen's 1988 film Another Woman, in which she played a middle-aged professor who goes on a journey of self-discovery after she overhears a therapy session involving another woman, played by Mia Farrow. She gained acclaim for her 1985 made-for-TV film and Early Frost, and 1987's TV film The Betty Ford Story, in which she played First Lady Betty Ford. She won an Emmy Award for her performance. Yes,
I think I do think I saw that. I mean, that was good casting. Yeah,
that was back in the old days where they would, they would just attack the other side all the time. Anyway, in 1992, she won her second Emmy Award for A Face of a Stranger. Her third Emmy win came in 2003's HBO film Hysterical Blindness. The actress also worked alongside her children, including Nick Cassavetes' 2004 film The Notebook. In 2007, she acted opposite Parker Posey in the independent film directed by her daughter Zoe Cassavetes, Broken English. In 2015, she was awarded an honorary Oscar and accepted the award at the Governor's Awards that year, thanking her late husband for his contribution to her many successes. "You know what is wonderful about being an actress," she said in her acceptance speech. "You live many lives." Rowlands was married to John from 1954 until his death on February 3rd, 1989, from complications of cirrhosis at 59. The two met while at the American Academy at Carnegie Hall where they were both students. Rowland admitted in 2016 interview for T Magazine that she found Cassavetes to be really good looking while they were both at school, but she didn't allow herself to be swayed by his good looks. "The one thing I never wanted to do was fall in love or get married or have children," she said. "I wanted to act." Cassavetes introduced himself after a student performance she was in. Rowlands revealed it would take the actor-director 3 years to convince her to be with him. When asked how he managed to woo her, Rowlands told the magazine, "Life has its little surprises." The couple had 3 children together, Nick, Zoe, and Alexandra. Rowlands remarried in 2012 to retired businessman Robert Forrest. Rowlands revealed in a 2016 interview with Variety that her favorite film with her late husband was A Woman Under the Influence. "You were dealing with a woman who was a little wacky to begin with, and she was obsessively in love with her husband," Rowlands said. "She got into such real trouble from her own psyche that she had a major nervous breakdown. I found it so touching," she continued. Rowlands also revealed she was surprised by the success of The Notebook, in which she played an older version of Rachel McAdams' character, Allie. "I didn't think it would have that kind of impact," she said. "I think it was such a big hit because it was about the realization that love can last your whole life. You don't see it depicted that way a lot." And I guess for her and Nick Cassavetes, that was true as well. I mean,
I was just thinking that. I was just looking at the end of life story, but it sounds like the beginning of their relationship was very, very similar. If you've ever seen The Notebook, there's some things I don't care for about The Notebook, but ultimately it's this idea that maybe somebody's with someone they're not supposed to be, and it takes time to get things worked out.
Right.
And once you do, it's solid. And I mean, big spoiler, but I think because of what I've been saying about her, you kind of know how The Notebook ends. The whole story is that she has dementia, and she's losing her memory of the man that she loves, that you've seen throughout the story that you've seen unfold throughout this movie. And it is just a heartbreaking, it's one of those movie endings that just leaves you in tears. And it really, really does sound like a very, very similar thing may have happened here in her real life.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this does affect many Americans, or many people, but not just Americans, people all around the world do have to live with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. So, we should give them and their caregivers,
oh yeah,
be as nice as we can to people going through all that. But it's funny. She mentioned, I didn't want to get married, didn't want to have children. You did both, but you still had your actor career. You still had a career as an actress too, though. So there you go. Another living legend we lost. Another big 70s actress, actually. So we lost two of these big 70s, 80s stars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but you kind of have to expect. Time marches on.
Yeah, well. Time marches on.
Don't take life too seriously. You're not getting out alive.
That's a wonderful expression. I'll keep that in mind. But that most likely is my future. Both my mother and father had Alzheimer's. I had a family member with it as well. It's awful, and it's something you have to live with. I will say this though. I'll say this. Both in the United States and in many other countries in the world, we are starting to become more cognizant that we have to start being more aware of this disease and start treating those with and their caregivers with, more dignity and trying to make things easier. We as a society can do better, I think. But I think we are doing better, so that's good.
Well, and I do think that the push to start addressing health concerns is growing. And getting our responsibilities and our priorities correct.
Right.
The whole Make America Healthy Again movement, I feel very, very strongly about. Maybe we should be paying more attention to things like cancer, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, and so forth.
Have it in my family, two-aged boomer, do word searches and crosswords, puzzles help. Yeah, it's funny. I remember Nintendo used to have this series called Brain Age for the Nintendo DS, and the idea was about keeping your brain fresh by doing things like puzzles and trick things.
Mm-hmm.
They made it for the DS, and it was actually made by a professor in Japan. Now I don't know how much it helped, but I figured it couldn't hurt, right? The idea
I'll tell you, maybe I'm on a good path here because I'm constantly doing this puzzle, trying to figure out the whole YouTube algorithm. Constantly.
Towards the end, my mother thought I was my sister's son, except for the last day I saw her before she died. She took and said, I know you're my baby. What I've heard about Alzheimer's, sometimes the memory, sometimes it goes back and forth, right? Like if there's like a trigger, they can, I don't know.
Definitely, you got to see, you've got to see this movie, The Notebook.
The Notebook, yeah.
That's a big part of it. You see the memory go in and out, and it's tough. You gotta definitely check that movie out.